The internet didn't just wake up to drama. It woke up to something that felt like a bomb dropped straight into the heart of the Braxton legacy. Because this time, the voice exposing the cracks in one of entertainment's most famous families isn't a blogger, a gossip site, or a disgruntled producer looking for attention. It's family. It's blood. And it's coming from the one person nobody expected to step forward with this level of raw emotion. Late last night, while fans were still remembering the warmth and humor that defined the life of Traci Braxton, her son suddenly posted a series of statements that stopped social media in its tracks. Not vague hints. Not cryptic quotes. But direct words that pointed to years of pain behind the polished image of Braxton sisterhood. Within minutes, timelines froze. Group chats exploded. Fan pages went silent as everyone tried to process the same shocking thought. How much of the Braxton story were we never supposed to see? Because according to what Traci's son is now alleging, the woman many fans saw as the gentle, overlooked sister wasn't just dealing with reality TV tension. She was carrying something much heavier. Something that lived in private conversations. Something that followed her long after the cameras stopped rolling. And something that may explain years of awkward moments, emotional distance, and the strange feeling viewers always had that Traci was somehow standing slightly outside the circle. What makes this moment even more explosive is the timing. These allegations aren't coming during a contract dispute. They are not coming during a new season of television. They are coming after Traci is gone. After the family publicly mourned. After fans believed the Braxton story had finally settled into peace. And now those old wounds are being torn open by someone who says he's finished protecting people who never protected his mother. Within hours of the posts appearing, clips from Braxton family values began resurfacing everywhere. Fans started re-watching scenes with a completely different lens. The awkward laughs. The interruptions. The moments where Traci tried to speak and the conversation moved on without her. Back then, it felt like reality TV chaos. Now it feels like something darker. And the most chilling detail of all. According to people claiming to have seen the full series of posts before some were deleted, Traci's son hinted that what he revealed so far is only the beginning. Because in his final message before logging off, he wrote a line that sent the internet into absolute panic. One day I'll tell you what really broke her. And if the rumors about a leaked recording tied to that statement are real, the next chapter of this story could shake the Braxton family harder than anything we've seen before. The first post appeared just after midnight. No warning. No dramatic introduction. Just a quiet Instagram story that looked almost too simple to matter. But within minutes, thousands of people were staring at their screens in stunned silence. Because the words came from Traci Braxton's son, and they carried a weight that instantly felt different from ordinary celebrity drama. The message was short. Y'all loved the show. My mom lived the parts they edited out. At first, fans didn't fully understand what he meant. But the next slide made everything clear. And suddenly, the internet felt like it had been punched in the chest. For years, viewers had watched the Braxton sisters laugh, argue, reconcile, and rebuild on television. Their chaos was emotional, sometimes messy, but always wrapped in the idea that no matter how bad things got, the bond between sisters would eventually win. But according to Traci's son, that version of the story was incomplete. Not fake, but incomplete. And the parts missing from the picture, he suggested, were the parts that hurt the most. Within minutes of the posts appearing, screenshots began spreading across Twitter and TikTok. Fan pages started reposting every slide. Comment sections exploded with confusion. Because the more he wrote, the more people began realizing that the awkward energy many viewers had noticed around Traci for years might not have been editing tricks or playful teasing. It might have been something deeper. Something painful. The second post hit even harder than the first. "My mom used to cry after filming days." That sentence alone shattered the comfortable narrative many fans had believed about the Braxton family dynamic. Because if it was true, it meant that some of the laughter viewers saw on screen might have hidden a very different emotional reality behind the cameras. According to insiders who claim to have worked around the production of Braxton Family Values, Traci often struggled with how she was portrayed on the show. Not because she hated her sisters, but because she felt misunderstood. Sources say Traci would sometimes ask producers why certain moments made it into episodes while other conversations, the ones where she tried to explain herself, were never shown. The answer she reportedly received was always the same: "That's just how television works." But television edits have consequences. And over time, those edits helped shape the public perception of Traci as the difficult sister, the jealous one, the one who always seemed a little out of step with the rest of the family. Fans accepted that narrative for years. But now, with her son speaking out, those old scenes are being watched again with completely different eyes. One clip in particular has gone viral again overnight. It's the infamous dinner scene where Traci expressed her frustration about wanting to pursue her own music career. At the time, the moment was framed as awkward comedy. The sisters laughed. Tamer made jokes. The tension passed quickly. But now, people are noticing something else. Traci's face. The way she smiled while everyone laughed. The way her eyes dropped to the table before she tried to laugh along. TikTok creators have replayed the moment millions of times in the last 24 hours. Some viewers say the clip now feels heartbreaking. Others insist the internet is reading too much into ordinary family teasing. But Traci's son didn't stop posting. And each new message made the situation feel heavier. In one slide, he wrote, "They made my mom look crazy so nobody would listen to her." That sentence detonated across social media. Because suddenly the conversation wasn't about editing tricks or misunderstood humor. It was about whether a narrative had been intentionally shaped around one sister. And if it had, the implications for the Braxton brand were enormous. Fans began pulling up old interviews where Traci spoke about feeling like the black sheep of the family. Moments where she laughed off comments about not fitting the mold. Moments that once felt harmless. Now they felt loaded. According to someone who claims to have been close to Traci during the show's production years, she often felt like she had to choose between defending herself and maintaining peace with her sisters. And she usually chose peace. Traci hated conflict, the source says. She'd rather swallow her feelings than risk breaking the family apart. But that emotional compromise reportedly came with a cost. Because according to her son, the more Traci tried to stay quiet, the more invisible she began to feel. And then came the post that sent shockwaves through the entire fan base. Deals were made without her. That claim opened an entirely new chapter of speculation. Because if it were true, it suggested Traci may have been excluded from opportunities tied to the Braxton brand. Within hours, entertainment bloggers began asking questions about contracts tied to the reality show. Were all sisters compensated equally? Were business decisions always shared with everyone? Or did certain members of the family have more influence over those conversations than others? No one has provided verified answers yet. But the rumors alone have been enough to ignite another wave of debate online. Some fans believe Traci's son is exposing long-buried family dynamics that the public never fully understood. Others worry that reopening those wounds after her death could create even deeper divisions inside the family. And so far, the Braxton sisters themselves have remained completely silent. No tweets. No statements. No interviews addressing the allegations. That silence has only intensified the speculation. Because in the world of celebrity drama, silence is rarely neutral. Sometimes it means reflection. Sometimes it means strategy. And sometimes it means something else entirely. Meanwhile, Traci's son continued posting late into the night. One message stood out above the rest. "My mom fought harder than anybody knew." Fans initially interpreted the statement as a reference to her battle with illness. But in the very next slide, he added a sentence that changed the meaning completely. "She wasn't just fighting cancer." That line sent chills through the internet. Because suddenly the story wasn't just about television drama or family disagreements. It was about emotional wounds that may have existed for years. And then, just when people thought the posts couldn't get any more explosive, Traci's son hinted at something that made the entire situation even more unsettling. According to a new claim now spreading across entertainment blogs, he may be in possession of a private recording connected to a family confrontation that happened years ago. A recording he says proves his mother tried to speak up and was shut down in front of everyone. If that audio ever becomes public, the Braxton family may be forced to answer questions they've avoided for years. And according to the final message he posted before logging off, that moment might be coming sooner than anyone expects. The silence from the Braxton family only made everything worse. Hours passed after Traci's son logged off, and not a single sister responded publicly. No statements. No clarifications. No emotional posts about family unity. Just silence. And that silence began to feel louder than the allegations themselves. Because fans weren't just waiting for answers anymore. They were searching for them. Old episodes of Braxton family values started trending again overnight. Clips that had once been brushed off as harmless sister banter were suddenly being replayed millions of times with a completely different emotional lens. One video went viral faster than any other. It showed Traci sitting quietly during a group conversation, while the other sisters debated music projects and business opportunities. When she tried to add her thoughts, Tamer interrupted with a joke that shifted the entire conversation. Back when the episode aired, viewers laughed along with the moment. Now, people noticed the look on Traci's face after she stopped talking. The forced smile. The quiet nod. The moment she leaned back in her chair like she'd given up trying to be heard. That clip alone gained nearly 6 million views in less than 12 hours. TikTok creators began stitching together entire compilations of similar moments. Times Traci was interrupted. Times she was laughed at. Times she tried to assert herself and the conversation moved forward without her. Fans started calling the compilation the Traci timeline. And the deeper people dug, the more uncomfortable the story became. Because suddenly, what looked like occasional teasing began to resemble a pattern. A pattern of dismissal. A pattern of exclusion. A pattern that matched the exact allegations Traci's son had just dropped online. But the real explosion came when a new rumor surfaced late the following afternoon. According to several entertainment bloggers, Traci's son wasn't just speaking from memory. He was allegedly sitting on evidence. Specifically, a private audio recording from a family conversation that took place years before the show even started filming. The rumor spread like wildfire across social media. No one had heard the recording. No one had confirmed it existed. But the idea alone was enough to push the situation into another level of chaos. Because if a recording really captured Traci speaking openly about how she felt inside the family dynamic, and if that recording showed her concerns being dismissed or ignored, it could completely reshape how fans understand the entire Braxton legacy. The internet began speculating about what might be on the tape. Was it an argument? A family meeting? A moment where Traci tried to explain her feelings and was laughed off? Traci's son didn't confirm the details. But he did post something that made people believe the rumor might be real. Late that evening, he shared a message that instantly went viral. "You only saw the edited version." Those 5 words were interpreted by many fans as a direct reference to the alleged recording. Because if the public had only seen the edited version of family interactions through reality television, then the unedited reality might be something far more uncomfortable. The speculation reached a boiling point when another supposed leak appeared online. This time it wasn't audio. It was a screenshot of what appeared to be a private text exchange between Traci and someone saved in her contacts simply as sister. The authenticity of the message hasn't been verified, but the words themselves were devastating. "I just want to feel like I belong." That sentence alone sent shockwaves through the fanbase. Thousands of people began sharing the screenshot, with captions expressing heartbreak for Traci. Others warned against believing unverified leaks. But by that point, the emotional reaction had already taken hold. Fans weren't just discussing celebrity gossip anymore. They were discussing pain. The kind of quiet family pain that doesn't explode in public arguments. The kind that grows slowly over years of feeling overlooked. And as the conversation intensified online, several celebrities began weighing in as well. One reality TV star tweeted a message that immediately caught attention. "Sometimes the strongest person in the family is the one everyone ignores." Another posted a cryptic comment that seemed directed at the entire situation. "Silence protects the comfortable." Those reactions only fueled the fire. Meanwhile, insiders claim the Braxton family had begun holding private conversations behind the scenes. Sources say phone calls were happening constantly. Lawyers were reportedly advising caution. PR teams were weighing possible responses. But the biggest challenge the family faced was simple. How do you respond when the accusations come from someone grieving? Traci's son wasn't attacking strangers. He was speaking about his mother. And that emotional reality made the situation incredibly delicate. According to one person who claims to have knowledge of those internal discussions, several family members were deeply shaken by the posts. Not necessarily because they agreed with every allegation, but because they knew Traci had struggled with feeling heard at times. Which meant the situation wasn't entirely black and white. And just when the tension seemed like it couldn't grow any higher, Traci's son posted again. This time, the message was shorter than anything he'd written before. Just one sentence. "The truth didn't start with the show." That line opened another floodgate of speculation. Because it suggested the emotional issues he was describing might have existed long before reality television cameras entered the Braxton family's lives. Fans immediately began asking new questions. Had the family hierarchy always been this way? Had Traci always felt like the outsider? Had the fame that elevated some sisters unintentionally pushed another further to the side? Those questions turned the conversation from a single allegation into something much broader. The entire history of the Braxton family dynamic was suddenly being re-examined. And then came the moment that truly shook the internet. Because late that night, Traci's son hinted that the alleged recording wasn't the only thing he had. According to his latest message, there may also be private messages between Traci and another family member discussing an incident that changed everything. He didn't reveal what the incident was. He didn't name the family member involved. But he ended the post with a sentence that left fans stunned. "One day you'll understand why she stopped fighting." And if what insiders are now whispering about that incident turns out to be true, the next revelation could shake the Braxton family even harder than the allegations already have. By the time the third wave of conversation hit the internet, the atmosphere around the Braxton family had completely transformed. What began as a late-night emotional confession from Traci Braxton's son had now evolved into something much bigger, a public reckoning with a family story fans believed they understood for years. But the deeper the conversation went, the more complicated the narrative became. Because while the internet was still debating the meaning behind the alleged recordings, screenshots, and accusations, Traci's son finally returned online again. And when he did, the tone of his message changed. This time, he didn't sound angry. He sounded tired. The post appeared without warning early in the morning. A single photo of Traci smiling, mid-laugh, her eyes bright in a moment of joy that looked untouched by the tension now surrounding her memory. Underneath the photo, he wrote something that instantly softened the entire conversation. "This is who she really was." That sentence slowed the internet down. Because suddenly the story wasn't about accusations or family drama anymore. It was about remembering the woman at the center of it all. He continued writing, explaining that his intention had never been to destroy his family's reputation or start a war with his aunts. Instead, he said his goal was much simpler. He wanted people to understand that the version of Traci many fans saw on television was incomplete. She deserved to be seen fully, he wrote. And in that moment, the entire narrative shifted. For days, the conversation had revolved around secrets, betrayals, and hidden tensions. Now it was about something more human. Grief? According to his message, Traci carried an enormous amount of love for her family even during the moments when she felt misunderstood. He said she never spoke about her sisters with hatred. Even when she was hurt. Even when she felt overlooked. Instead, she often chose silence because she believed keeping peace inside the family mattered more than being publicly right. That revelation stunned many fans. Because it contradicted the image some people had started forming over the past 2 days, the idea that Traci had been locked in constant resentment toward her sisters. But according to her son, that wasn't the truth. She loved them more than anyone knows, he wrote. That line instantly went viral. And it forced many viewers to reconsider the emotional complexity of the situation. Because family pain rarely exists in simple categories of heroes and villains. Sometimes people hurt each other without meaning to. Sometimes misunderstandings grow quietly over years. Sometimes silence protects relationships, until that silence becomes its own kind of burden. As the post spread across social media, fans began responding with messages of empathy rather than anger. Many shared their own experiences with complicated family dynamics. Others spoke about the difficulty of balancing loyalty with honesty. The comment sections slowly shifted from outrage to reflection. Even some celebrities, who had previously posted cryptic reactions, returned to clarify their perspectives. One singer wrote, "Families are complicated. Grief makes truth louder." Another reality TV personality shared a message that resonated deeply with many fans. Sometimes the person who smiles the most is the one carrying the most. Meanwhile, the Braxton family itself remained silent. But insiders say the atmosphere behind the scenes had softened slightly since Traci's son's latest post. According to someone familiar with the situation, several relatives privately expressed appreciation that his final message emphasized love rather than accusations. That shift may prove important for what happens next. Because the biggest question now facing the family isn't whether disagreements existed. Most families experience conflict. The real question is whether those conflicts can be addressed openly without destroying the relationships involved. Traci's son seemed aware of that balance. Toward the end of his message, he explained that he had no interest in releasing private recordings or messages simply to create more chaos. "If it helps no one heal, it's not worth it," he wrote. That statement surprised many people, who had been expecting another wave of explosive revelations. Instead, it sounded like closure. Or at least the beginning of it. But before logging off again, he left fans with one final thought that continues echoing across social media. "My mom just wanted to feel like she mattered." Those 8 words may have captured the heart of the entire story more powerfully than any alleged recording or leaked message ever could. Because beneath the layers of speculation, celebrity status, and reality television editing lies a simple human truth. Everyone wants to feel seen. Everyone wants to feel valued. And sometimes the people we love most struggle to understand how deeply we need that acknowledgement. The Braxton legacy has always been built on resilience. Through career highs, public conflicts, and personal loss, the sisters have repeatedly found ways to rebuild their connection. Now, with Traci's memory at the center of the conversation, many fans hope this moment becomes less about blame and more about understanding. Because if the past few days have revealed anything, it's that even the strongest families carry wounds the outside world may never fully see. And perhaps the most meaningful tribute to Traci Braxton's life isn't exposing secrets or settling old arguments. Perhaps it's simply remembering her with the dignity and love she deserved all along. But one thing remains certain. The conversation surrounding her story has already changed how many people view the Braxton family forever. And whether the sisters eventually speak publicly or choose to heal privately, the legacy of Traci Braxton, her voice, her kindness, her resilience, will always remain part of that story. Before you click away, pause for a second, because what you just heard isn't just another piece of celebrity gossip scrolling through the internet. This is a moment that could permanently change how people see one of the most famous families in entertainment. For years, millions of viewers watched the Braxtons laugh, argue, reconcile, and survive together. The story we were given was one of sisterhood, resilience, and family bonds that always found a way back to each other. But now, with Traci's son speaking up, the conversation has shifted in a way nobody expected. And the truth is, we are only at the beginning of this story. Because whether more messages surface, whether someone from the family finally responds, or whether the rest of those rumored recordings ever see the light of day, one thing is certain: the next development could change everything we think we know about the Braxton legacy. So now I want to hear from you. Do you believe Traci's son was right to speak out and tell his mother's story after years of silence? Or do you think some family pain should remain private, even when the public is asking questions? Your perspective matters more than you think, because these conversations shape how stories like this are remembered. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about it respectfully. This is a sensitive topic, and every voice adds to the understanding of what really happened behind the scenes. If you want to stay updated on every twist, every new statement, every insider detail that might emerge from this situation, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications right now. Because if another message drops, if another recording surfaces, or if the Braxton family finally breaks their silence, you're going to want to know the moment it happens.